Good. All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahawashi, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to all the Akim out there pushing the word in sincerity and in truth. All right, so brothers in GMS Atlanta, you know, we got a quick topic for the Akim going into the steps of humility. You know, in this truth, you have to be very humble and meek, and we just, you know, got a couple of different characteristics or aspects of what comes with the spirit of humility. And this is the first is examination, second is critique, third is understanding, and fourth is reasoning. And I'll start with number one. You know, I just read all four out just to outlay what all four is, but you know, I just want to express certain things that y'all brothers have, of course. But the first examination, because sometimes when you go through certain situations, you have to examine yourself. All right, which we got the scripture in Corinthians. You can read that real fast.
God, this is 2 Corinthians 13:5. Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith.
Right. So when you're in certain situations, you have to examine yourself. That's the most humble way you can approach most situations. All right, especially when you're dealing with counsel matters, when you're dealing amongst the brotherhood. All right, because sometimes situations can be twisted, sometimes things can get distorted through viewpoints and things of that nature. So examination is very, very key, and it's important. It's a focal point with this faith of ours. All right, as you grow and progress, you always have to look and gauge yourself in your progression. The scriptures say that the greater thou art, the more humble thyself. So even as you know, ascend up the totem pole, so to speak, you always have to look and make sure that your humility levels is always at base, so to speak. All right, keep going.
It says, prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Yahawashi Mashiach is in you, except ye be reprobate.
Yeah, and a humble man would do these things. That's how he would approach every situation, through examination and humility. All right. Just like I said earlier, if you get that other scripture I told you in Surah 18, when you're dealing with what matters, you have to really sit back and look at yourself before you actually pointing the finger. You know, because some things, you, through lack of judgment or lack of understanding, you might have pieces of the plot, so to speak, together, but you might not have the full circle. You know, and a lot of times, you know, which I've seen plenty of times, of course, brothers, as you progress in the truth, and through years and years, of course, starting off with the apostle on down, you see situations can just be distorted and contorted, you know, amongst individual men, amongst sometimes camps, you know, amongst a lot of things, you know. That's why you always just have to sit back and make sure that you actually are dealing with situations the best way. And the best way to deal with them is just to humble yourself. A lot of times you may get God on through reprovals, through rebukes and things of that nature. And sometimes your best bet isn't to buck up and to get your point across, because that's where pride, that's where your ego comes in a lot of times. You know, of course, sometimes you feel a certain way dealing with you know, getting God on and things of that nature. But first off, just examine yourself. All right, that's going to actually clear out a lot of nonsense and a lot of bickering, gossip, and bullshit in the midst of dialogues amongst men. You know, submitting yourself unto the rule, which that's the word what subject means, unto the rule or under the rule of the next man. All right, so that everything can be clean slated, because this truth isn't about beef. This truth is not about dissension, so to speak, and you know, division. It's about coming together. The scripture says to gather yourselves together, O nation not desire. So situations, however you deal with them and approach them, can actually clean the situation, or it can make it worse. And examination is very, very important when you're dealing with these situations. Okay. You got that?
This is Surah 18:20. It says, the fear of the Lord is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is the performance of the law.
I think it's 24.
Okay.
See what that says.
He has my understanding.
That ain't it. I'm about to get it real fast. Looking at it. It's 18 and 20.
Oh, Surah 18:20. It says, before judgment, examine thyself.
Yeah, it says before judgment, before the judgment is hashed out, you have to examine yourself. All right, because a lot of times you may get yourself in a situation, and just through lack of examination, things draw itself out, and it gets worse than if you were to just examine yourself and listen and calm down. All right, like maybe I was wrong in this situation. I just need to take a step back and just reaccumulate and reassess the situation through the eyes or the lenses of the next man. So when I actually approach the situation, it'll be way more clear. It'll be more concise, and I can deal with it as a man instead of what brothers don't see where I'm coming from. Well, you gotta be more spiritual. And you don't even understand the full matter. And a lot of times, a lot of men, they'll jump up and go crazy like that. A lot of men lack understanding, and they don't really understand the full gist of the scriptures. And then it's a lot of pride, man. It's really that. A lot of men don't like to take orders or get got on by men in the circle, so to speak. A lot of men show the face of that, but that's why the scripture says to examine yourself, man. And those type of guys that do those things through lack of examination, because it's pride. That's how you could indicate pride. Pride is the antonym, or it's the opposite of humility. If you don't examine yourself in judgments and things of that nature, that's when judgment get hashed out rigorously, so to speak. That's when it's a strict judgment. All right? Because even when you on a judgment seat dealing with the court systems and things of that nature, whatever you spew out of your mouth can actually land you a better sentence that you can actually deal with and actually take the hit and get out of jail, or you could actually make it worse and you actually get an extension of time. You got certain people that go berserk on it, talking to the judge any type of way, cussing the judge out, just speaking any type of way and not rising when the judge say to rise, just showing your ass, so to speak. And what does that result in? You thought you was gonna do 15 years, judge just slapped off another 20 just because you wanna act tough. They gonna make sure you suffer, man. And the guards and everything. Hey, sometimes judges they know how to work the system, so to speak, man. That's why you can't play around. You have to use wisdom. You gotta utilize wisdom and don't act on emotion. All right, emotion is a trait of women. Men's traits is logic and reasoning, understandings, examinations, critiquing. All right, read that over.
Sirach 18-20. Before judgment, examine thyself.
Yeah, look at yourself. Examine it and just look at yourself. Take a step back and look, so that you make sure that everything will work out for the better at the end of the day. Also, we dealt with a situation here, with the previous camp leader, Yara Dunn, and a lot of stuff he could have dealt with a lot better if he would have just examined himself and just would have just said, I'm wrong. I am actually wrong from all these different things I committed. I know these men aren't just coming sideways at me just through emotion and trying to beguile me out of my captain seat, so to speak. I understand that these men have been, jacked up, and they've been emotionally, torn, so to speak, from these situations that occurred. And I actually take accountability. And if he would have approached that situation like a man and examined himself, it wouldn't have stretched out to the conditions that it went to. Us hashing out rebukes and all these different things, and to the point where he's not even doing the work no more. Because of what? Pride. Pride is a killer, man. And a lot of men contract that illness through age in the truth, so to speak, through lack of examination, like we just went into the 4 steps, through lack of self-criticism, self-critiquing, through lack of understanding, and what was the 4th one I had? Through a lack of reasoning. All right, a lot of men aren't reasonable, man. You talk to them, and you can break the scriptures down all illustrious and graceful, put the pieces and bedazzle, so to speak, just to get your point across with certain men, and they still don't want to hear that shit, man. Because a lot of men got hella nigga spirits in them, and the Most High just ain't dealing with them and want to get them out because of that spirit of pride, man. You had something?
Yeah, I had a precept.
Okay.
This is Proverbs 8:13. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride, and arrogancy,
the fear of the Lord. When you first come in this thing, you establish yourself upon the virtues of fear. And with the virtues of fear, those are branches of the fear of the Lord. To hate pride, what was the other one?
Evil.
Evil, which the evil is the bad way. And arrogancy, which arrogancy can equate to pride. That's a characteristic of being proud. You arrogant, how you carry yourself, how you talk down upon men. You talk and regard yourself as a highly individual, and for men to get like you, so to speak. The Most High not dealing with that spirit, man.
That's why once you start gaining this knowledge and wisdom, pray to the Lord to keep you humble. You know what I'm saying? Because once you know, just like Jake in the world, you try to talk to the Jake who think he knows everything. Man, he's prideful. You can't tell him nothing. You know, so once you start gaining wisdom and knowledge, just pray to the Lord to help to keep you humble, just like how you were when you first started coming in.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful point that you made, because a lot of times with guys with a lot of pride, even though they know a lot, they don't have any people that want to learn under them, because how they flaunt and basically how they display their knowledge with pride. You know, they're not coming from the position of teaching. They're coming from the position of being, like the scripture said, being arrogant. All right, showing their ass like I'm this divine individual, and you'll never get like me, so to speak. Men don't like learning under that type of energy. Men don't like associating under that energy, no matter how knowledgeable and how unique you are with the scriptures, man. That's why you have to humble yourself. When Yahawashi was dealing with the disciples, as great as a man he was, he always showed them the ropes. He always came as a brother and approached the situations very reasonably. All right, he broke certain things down unto them as babes. All right, he humbled himself. The scripture said Yahawashi came to minister, not to be ministered unto. So he, as a minister, he actually served. All right, he washed the disciples' feet. All right, he showed Peter how to walk on water. He rebuked them when time was necessary. He encouraged them. All right, he gave them self-confidence, faith. All right, he showed them how to depend on one another throughout courses and tribulations, and how to walk individually. He gave them all these different characteristics, so when he were to die and actually, ascend onto the throne or the right-hand side of the Most High, they would be established and they would be great and just as reliable as he was unto the Father. That's why one of the main things Yahawashi told Peter was to feed my sheep, feed my lambs. All right, and Peter submitted unto that energy. All right, because even Peter was humble. Yahawashi, he didn't set up a proud disciple. Peter, he set up a humble disciple. The Most High always dealt with men that were meek. All right, that would take the execution and would deliver it the right way. All right, prime example with Saul. Saul, through his pride, he didn't take the objective and deal with it as such. The scripture said, if I'm not mistaken, it was Nathan. If I'm not mistaken, Nathan the prophet, either Nathan or Samuel. More than likely, it was Samuel. But Samuel, the prophet, he told, because it was in Samuel, it speaks about how rebellion is the sin of witchcraft. But Samuel gave Saul specific and strict objectives to execute. All right, and Saul, he came back and he basically broke the guidelines, and he thought that basically what he did was a thing that it would be obedient unto the Most High and a thing that they would actually like. But Samuel rejected him. He said that obedience is better than sacrifice. All right, when he was bringing the cattle, he brought not Haman the Agag. It was his father. It slips my mind right now. Agag the Amalekite. He was the Edomite, and he brought him. All right, so that was a status of pride. That was a position coming from a position of pride, and of course he was, from his lenses, he thought he was doing the right thing, but just listening. All right, doing that which is committed or which is commanded. That's what the Most High wants. When the Most High told Moses to do certain things, Moses did it through his humility. Hell, the Most High told Abraham to sacrifice Isaac. He listened and did it. All right, which he didn't. At the end of the day, he didn't sacrifice him. Yahweh actually excused him from his duties. He just wanted to test his faith. All right, so the same thing with us. Whatever the Most High pushes on us, and a lot of times it comes through other men.